Hi guys, in today's video we are going to discuss Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I will be providing you guys with a beautiful potential trade setup on that specific altcoin. Now let's start off today's video with our analysis on Bitcoin. Let's start on a higher time frame, guys. What we can see, Bitcoin is trading still inside of this previous bull market range with range pivot 1, 2 and range pivot number 3. Now guys, what we were seeing over here on Bitcoin was a first bigger deviation that was being followed up by a second smaller deviation. Now this double range low deviation pattern, which is something we see very often, led towards an impulse towards a range high liquidity pool. Now we have to realize and observe that the price action for Bitcoin has been extremely bullish over the past few months and over the past year or so. Now also guys, make sure to think in a logical way. What are we looking at right now? We are looking at a double range low deviation that led to an impulse towards a range high unmitigated liquidity pool, which means that technically speaking, according to this range, our main objective, which was the range high liquidity pool, has been reached. So we have to think and realize that the money right now, is it to be made on Bitcoin, or are there bigger and better opportunities being presented onto Ethereum and onto altcoins? Because when we simply trade the range until it breaks, and yes, I do still expect higher targets for Bitcoin, we have to think in a rational manner. And we have to realize that right now, our play, which was from the range low towards the range high, has been done. Alright? So the money that was to be made from the range low towards the range high, that opportunity has now already vanished. Obviously, we can still continue higher, and when we look at the current local price action on Bitcoin, we can see that Bitcoin on the lower time frame is also trading in the range. So we have the higher time frame range, and on the lower time frame over here, we can see that over the past few months, Bitcoin has been ranging as well. And it's a pretty clean range as well, if you were to ask me, okay? So we can say that this over here is our range low and this is our range high. And what we are looking at is a beautiful respect of the mid-range. Every single time that the mid-range was getting respected as support and as resistance, we can see that the quarterly level was getting respected as support and resistance, and that this quarterly level at the bottom was also getting respected as support and resistance many times. So we are looking at a valid lower time frame range as well. Now that is something that we can use to potentially trade. But also when we look at the lower time frame range, we can see a double range low deviation pattern. Smaller first deviation being followed up by a second bigger deviation. Leads to a reclaim of the range low, a perfect retest of the range low, and it leads towards an impulse towards a mid-range over here, which is where we had that liquidity resting above this high over here. Now first objective has already been mitigated, the mid-range liquidity pool. Second objective, which is the range high liquidity pool, is a new all-time high for Bitcoin. Does it mean that we cannot continue higher after reaching the all-time high? Obviously not. We can easily continue higher, but once again guys, the play on Bitcoin has already been made. This is where we should have engaged with a long position. This is also where I gave you guys the entry, the stop loss, and the take profit target for the specific trade. Now, the only reason where I could be interested, the only area where I would be interested in potentially adding to my long position on Bitcoin is the area over here. It's the area beneath this low with our invalidation beneath this low, which means that the entire area over here could be used to start building one more long position on Bitcoin, with as a first target being a new all-time high and eventually targeting 80k and higher, okay? I think that there's a lot of liquidity resting over here. I think there's also some liquidity still resting over here, and I think this area over here, especially this breaker block over here, beneath that liquidity area that I just marked out, is definitely an interesting area to potentially engage with one last long position on Bitcoin, with our invalidation over here and our first take profit target being the range high liquidity pool, and that offers a decent RR of 2.25. It's a decent trade, but once again, like I said, we have to realize that the money right now is to be made onto Ethereum and into altcoin. And when we look at the current Ethereum chart, we can see that Ethereum is very similar to Bitcoin, but it's lagging behind. Also Ethereum trading in the previous bull market range pivot 1, 2 and 3 for the range low, range pivot number 4 for the range high, and then over here we see how the range low was constantly getting respected as support and resistance. providing us with a very, very high probability range. And we can see first bigger deviation being followed up indeed by a second smaller deviation. First, a liquidity objective has been met, which is the mid-range liquidity pool over here. Second liquidity pool though, around the range high, has not been met yet. So Bitcoin has already met the range high. Ethereum is yet to reach the range high. And what I really like about this Ethereum price section is that we rejected the quarterly level over here, and the rejection of that quarterly level led to an impulse towards the mid-range. Now look at what we have done around that mid-range. First smaller deviation being followed up by a second bigger deviation over here. Exactly what we want to see. Now this second bigger deviation led to an impulse that broke structure over here towards the upside. So daily structure is up, 12-hour structure is up, 4-hour structure is up. Everything is looking primed for more upside. And what we were looking at over here on Friday, and I gave you guys this exact trading signal, is that we were putting in this wick over here during the ETF approval for Ethereum. I told you guys there was a high probability that we were going to visit 50% of the wick fill over here before more upside. Now when I apply the 50% wick fill, look how perfect, guys. We filled exactly 50% of the wick, and we indeed continued higher, and we have right now taken out the top of the wick. So is this the area to start longing right now, when we have filled 50% of the bottom of the wick and we are currently taking out the top of the wick? Obviously not. We buy when things are red and we sell when things are green. We buy when people are fearful over here, and we sell when people get greedy over here. So those that engage with a long position over here at the 50% wick fill level, right now, guys, the price is up around 1.87 R, a perfect area to take some profit. Now, higher time frame rise for Ethereum, what do I expect? I expect that right now is not the time to buy, not the time to long. Is there a probability that Ethereum is going to go higher from here without offering a pullback? Yes, there is. There's actually a decent probability that Ethereum is going to go higher from here without offering a pullback, which means that my focus is on trading altcoins, as I've said before. What we are looking at on Ethereum is a 5-wave impulsive structure towards the upside. Wave 1, wave 2, currently in the middle of wave 3, before getting into a bigger wave 4 and a bigger wave 5. Now, how can I know that we are in a 5-wave impulsive structure towards the upside? Because when we count the sub-minute waves of this bigger wave 3, we should always be able to count 5 sub-minute waves. And let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Currently in sub-minute wave 5 of the bigger wave 3. Why do I like this sub-minute count? Because during wave 4, we were forming a falling wedge over here, which is a very common pattern during wave 4. Wave 4 was very long, very slow, and very choppy. The third wave of this sub-minute count was very impulsive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, without offering any deep pullbacks. Exactly what we want to see. Wave 2 consists out of a A, B, C correctional wave pattern. Exactly what we want to see during wave 2. Alright, so in my opinion, we are in a bigger impulsive structure towards the upside. Now I think we could be seeing something similar onto Ethereum like we have been seeing on Bitcoin. So reach the range high like Bitcoin did as well, and around this range high, start a re-accumulation range. Inside of the bigger wave 4, it is very, very common to either form a triangle, a channel, like a range, or a falling wedge. Very, very common behavior during wave 4. After wave 4 is very slow, very choppy, and it takes a very long period of time to form. And a lot of people that made gains during wave 3, or a lot of people that were short during wave 3, they want to earn back their losses, or they want to earn even more money if they made money along the way up. And inside of the bigger wave 4, they are going to get chopped up. Because it is so slow, it is so choppy, and it is designed to chop up the people that are either looking to earn back their losses or that are looking to make even more money if they made money along the way up. So, what does this tell us? It tells us that once Ethereum reaches that range high, and it is going to go into that slow and choppy range, or into a falling wedge, or into a triangle, that probably altcoins have the opportunity to take the lead. Which is why I'm looking to position myself into swing longs on altcoins right now already. Because if Ethereum is going to visit that range high, obviously altcoins will follow. Obviously the gains on altcoins will be massive already. But once Ethereum starts ranging, and altcoins get the opportunity to outperform Ethereum and Bitcoin, that's where the true gains are to be made. And one of those altcoins that we could be potentially making these gains on is Solana. When we look at the current Solana chart, we are looking at a beautiful reaccumulation range with range pivot 1, range pivot 2, range pivot 3, and range pivot 4. Solana has been breaking out of the range, and when it was breaking out, it was forming some very interesting price action, and it is currently developing a potential very nice trade opportunity. What we were looking at was a push towards the upside that gave us a fake break of structure over here. Why was this a fake break of structure? This was no significant high to break because it did not bring us to a new low compared to this low that brought us to that high. So it was a fake break of structure. People long this fake break of structure over here with their stop loss beneath a low that started the impulse towards the upside, which means that there was a lot of liquidity resting over here. And the people that first had their stop loss resting over here, they tightened their stop loss from this low to this low over here to mitigate risk, which means that there was even more liquidity being added to this already existing liquidity pool. Now, what was interesting about the liquidity pool is that right beneath it, we have this massive demand area for Solana. And that massive demand area for Solana is exactly lining up with, indeed, the range high of the previous reaccumulation range. But also, guys, when we look at the previous distribution range over here for Solana, what is very interesting is that we have now reclaimed the previous distribution range over here. So, we had a very nice range with range pivot 1, range pivot 2 and range pivot 3, providing us with a high probability range. So we broke out above the range high of the reaccumulation range and we reclaim potentially the range low of that distribution range. Right now, the daily trend is up. We are trending above the EMAs on the 4-hourly time frame. The 2-hour EMAs are aligning over here as well, and also the 1-hour EMAs are aligning over here as well. What are they aligning with? They are aligning, guys, with the pivotal significant high over here. We are seeing a local liquidity sweep, a very small and clean sweep and deviation beneath that range low, a front run of the range high level. Why do I like the fact that we potentially front run the range high level? Because a lot of people are looking to get in exactly at the range high level. A lot of people have their limit long orders, their limit buy orders exactly at the previous range high level. So if we front run it, not everyone is going to be able to make money on a potential move towards the upside. And obviously, as always, there's no circumstance where the majority of the market is making money. So I really like the way that we potentially front run that range high. Now, I'm looking for one more trigger. I'm looking for a break of structure towards the upside based off this significant high. Because then, in that case, also the local trend that is currently to the downside with lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs is getting shifted back towards the upside. We are not only going to shift the market structure back towards the upside, but we are also going to reclaim the 100 EMA on the 4-hourly time frame. We are also going to reclaim the 100 and 200 EMA on the 2-hourly time frame. And we are also going to reclaim, indeed, the 100 and 200 EMA on the 1-hourly time frame. Now, if we reclaim all of these EMAs, in confluence with the shifted structure, in confluence with the range high breakout and a range low reclaim over here, I think we have ourselves a high probability long setup with our stop loss beneath the local low and as a first target being a new yearly high. And guys, that offers a beautiful RR setup of 4.37. So wait for this trigger. Once you get this trigger, start looking for longs with limit orders or with a market entry, stop loss beneath the local low and as a target being the range high unmitigated liquidity pool, offering a beautiful RR of 4.37. All that you need is a little bit more patience, a little bit more price action, a little bit more confirmation, and once we get this confirmation, we engage with a high probability long position and we profit along the way up. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you guys did enjoy today's YouTube video, make sure to smash up the like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I'll catch you guys on Wednesday's video. Ciao, ciao!